Hey everyone, and welcome to Boston Autoblog. We are back once again with the Maserati Ghibli, and if you've been with me for a long time, we had checked this sedan out back in 2017 when I first started doing feature videos on this channel. Now, this is going to be the theme for this review, and that is don't judge a book by its cover, because from the exterior, not much has changed at all. It looks very much like the Ghibli that came out 4, 5, 6 years ago, but a lot has changed on the interior, and I think for 2021, Maserati is definitely moving in the right direction. While it's not directly related, there is going to be a new supercar in the lineup called the MC20. There's also going to be a new crossover that slots below the Maserati Levante. And for the Ghibli nameplate, you now have the Trofeo, which is going to give you a Ferrari-derived V8. So things are really beginning to change for this brand. We also have a new look to the rear end, and it appears as though for this taillight design, this is going to be found on a lot of Maserati products moving forward, at least for the first half of this decade. Now, the Ghibli has received quite a lot of criticism over the years just because it's not the most refined in its segment. I think a lot of people were let down by what the Ghibli was offering. But for 2021, there's definitely been some improvements made, especially when we check out the interior. There's new technology, but also I believe the refinement has certainly improved as well. So in this video, we're going to take a good long look at the Maserati Ghibli and see why, if you are looking for a new luxury car that are around $75,000 to $80,000, maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover and give the Maserati Ghibli at least a quick look and possibly a test drive. Now, before we get in this review, I'd like to thank Boston Motorsports, Maserati, and Alfa Romeo in Brighton, Massachusetts for allowing me to do this review. Their link will be in the description below, so you can check out their extensive Maserati, Alfa Romeo, and used exotic inventory. And so, without wasting any further time, let's get right in this review. For luxury brands based outside of Germany, it's been an uphill battle to gain recognition and at the very least carve out a niche for themselves to find some footing in the United States. Maserati, as of very recently, is in the process of transitioning from being a smaller manufacturer offering a limited amount of vehicles to possibly becoming an Italian brand that inspires a new generation of consumers to be a part of something special and unique. The Ghibli has been with us for some time now, slotting beneath the Quattroporte and being the more attainable sports sedan in the lineup. However, Americans are still drawn in by German luxury brands, simply due to the overall value they provide. But for 2021, Maserati has made necessary changes to the Ghibli that might just turn some heads and make buyers reconsider which car they want to purchase. Starting off with pricing, the Maserati Ghibli SQ4 comes in at $81,890, but with optional packages and features equipped on this model, you're looking at spending just over $90,000. The Ghibli has always been a deceptive car, whether it's from the design cues or simply just the overall size of this sedan. At first glance, you get the impression you're staring at a car that would be comparable in size to the BMW 3 Series or Audi A4. But in reality, dimensions are very similar to a Mercedes-Benz E-Class. So to say that the Ghibli is entry-level luxury for the Maserati brand isn't the most accurate statement. But also adding to the deception, the Trident logo and the way the sedan is crafted, you think you're staring at a laid-back and reserved mid-sized luxury car. But in reality, the Ghibli does have a bad side to it that might surprise unsuspecting buyers. Taking a look at the road presence, not much has changed over the years for Maserati's most affordable sedan. While there have been cosmetic upgrades made, it's still very much the same from the outside. Yet in an unexplainable way, the Ghibli has slowly transformed to looking like the Quattroporte, and that may have something to do with the $3,100 20-inch forged GTS design wheels on this model, which actually pairs very well with the minor touches and aesthetics found throughout the exterior, like Maserati's signature side air vents that have been used on many cars both in the past and present. Base SQ4 models will have bi-xenon headlamps, but if you upgrade to the Gran Lusso, adaptive full LED headlights with high beam assist will provide better illumination at night, while at the same time modernizing the overall appearance of the Ghibli. You'll receive body color, power folding side mirrors with turn signal indicators, and part of a package that we'll discuss further on later in this video, you will have blind spot detection for added safety. Then coming around to the back, the most noticeable change compared to last year are the redesigned LED taillights to give the Ghibli a refreshed and more modern appearance. Of course, as a car enthusiast, the quad exhaust outlets let me know that this car is still a sports sedan at the end of the day, even with the luxury car aesthetics. And adding a nice touch and remaining true to the Maserati brand, the Trident logo will be found on the C-pillar for a classy look. Under the hood, the Ghibli SQ4 is powered by a 3-liter twin-turbocharged V6 engine that puts out 424 horsepower and 428 pound-feet of torque, and is paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. One of the draws to owning a Maserati is the performance you receive, as the Ghibli is capable of going from 0 to 60 in right around 4.7 seconds. And when compared to some non-German competitors in this segment, it actually outcompetes them in that regard. When it comes to the drivetrain, our model does have all-wheel drive, but rear-wheel drive will come standard for the base and S trims. For fuel economy, you can expect to receive right around 16 miles per gallon in the city and 24 miles per gallon on the highway. Stepping inside, we're given power-adjustable heated leather seats for both the driver and passenger, with the ability to upgrade to perforated leather, which will also be ventilated as well. If you've experienced the Ghibli in the past, you probably remember the first model years not being the most refined. But 5 to 6 years later, Maserati has certainly fixed the areas where critics complained. In front of you, between the analog gauges, you have a digital display which will provide a variety of information. But more importantly, resolution and quality has improved, and it's a technology found throughout the interior that's really drawn my attention. All new for 2021, you'll have a 10-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility to go along with onboard navigation. You can upgrade to a Harman Kardon sound system for an additional $1,100. Italian brands have never been known to have the greatest user interfaces, and usually they leave much more to be desired. But now with Maserati no longer using Fiat Chrysler's Uconnect software, you finally get the sense that we're seeing this manufacturer turn the page and become a true premium luxury brand. This Ghibli is equipped with the optional driver assistance package, which will give us a 360-degree surround view camera, front and rear cameras with trajectory, forward collision warning with automatic braking, rear cross traffic alert, and front and rear parking sensors. What impressed me the most with this screen was the quality of this head unit, as that was an area where Maserati has always struggled with. Below, you'll find the buttons for the dual-zone climate control and front and rear defrosters. And as we work our way down towards the center console, there will be a cubby for your smartphone, which also doubles as a wireless phone charging pad if you opt for that feature. Next to the gear shift lever, not much changes in terms of button layout, and your drive modes can be found here. However, a new addition is the rotary dial for your volume control, but up top there will be a button to turn off this user interface if you'd rather not look at the screen while driving. For the center storage compartment, you'll find plenty of room for small items. And rounding out the front seating area, a power moonroof will let in a lot of natural light to the interior. Now for passengers in the back, we're going to start off on the passenger side, and I adjusted the seat further back. It's also on a recline, and I still have a few inches of legroom to work with here, which is a bit impressive because I do think the second row seats, there's not as much legroom as you'd find in other cars of this size, and I really just think it has something to do with the fact that the rear cargo space has been maximized for this car. But I also think that if you do have people back here on a daily or weekly basis, when it comes to headroom, you might want to go with the Levante. I think the Levante is a better value overall just because you get better legroom and better headroom. But if you're on my height, around 5'5", and you're sitting behind someone at the height of 6 feet tall and above, I do think you're going to be just fine. I'm not cramped at all. So I think if you're on maybe 5'8", 5'9", you can sit back here comfortably for sure. Now, for the center seat, as I feel with most cars in this price range, the Maserati Ghibli really is a grand tour. And you can definitely see that, the way it's set up, because you have a very aggressive center hump. And that takes away a lot of legroom, but also it forces me to kind of widen my legs a bit. I had to spread my legs. And by doing so, if I had a person on my left and right, I think we'd all be cramped for sure. So I think the Maserati Ghibli is more conducive for a family of 4, or you just have 2 passengers back here if you want to bring your friends along on a long road trip. And then on the driver's side, I adjusted the seat to someone of my height, around 5'5", and I still have plenty of legroom to work with here. So I think that overall, if you're a shorter person, we're talking 5'8", 5'9", you're the driver or the passenger, I think it's going to be just fine. When it comes to taller passengers, though, around 5'10", 5'11", and above, they are going to hit their head on the headliner. So I do think that if you have people in the back on a daily or weekly basis, the Levante is going to be the better option to go with. Also back here, you do get 2 rear air vents to go along with 2 level heated outboard seats. And a feature you do expect to have on a car around $90,000 is the ability to open and close the rear shade for the windshield. And I think that's a really cool feature to have because it blocks out the sun if, say, you're driving and the sun's behind you, or you just want to have some extra privacy. That's definitely great to see, especially where the Maserati Ghibli might be used as a car for an executive, where maybe you're back here working on your laptop or your iPad and you just don't want to have the sun glaring on the screen. So I think it's really cool to see. And then rounding out the rear seating area, you do get a center armrest with 2 cup holders, and also you have a cubby for a smartphone. Now coming around to the back, on our model we have the optional power liftgate, which is great to see on a Maserati. And inside you're going to find right around 17.7 cubic feet of rear cargo space, which is beyond impressive for a sedan. Now, I don't know if it's like this for you guys, but I always looked at the Ghibli as being Maserati's version of the BMW 3 Series, when in reality it has the exact same dimensions as the BMW 5 Series. So it's going up against the 5 Series, the A6, and the E-Class, and when you look at cargo space, it falls right in line with those 3 vehicles. So you could fit plenty of items back here, such as groceries, or for myself, camera gear, but you could fit multiple bags of luggage. So if you are going on a road trip with some family, you don't need to worry about practicality in that sense. But I just think that overall for 2021, we've already gone over the interior and the layout. I'm a bit impressed with what Maserati has done. From the exterior, it looks like the exact same Ghibli we've seen for the last 5 to 6 years, but then when you start looking at the smaller details, that's where everything begins to change. And then on the right side of the rear cargo area, you are going to find some netting for some smaller items. Looks like we have all the booklets here, which you can move to the glove box, and you can store maybe car detail equipment or some water bottles. And that way, if you're on a spirited drive, you don't need to worry about them being thrown around on your more valuable items. And then, of course, you also have a 12-volt outlet. And then once you're done, just press the button, and the liftgate will close automatically. So at the end of the day, I think the final verdict for this sedan is do not judge a book by its cover. Even though the exterior hasn't changed much over the years, it's the interior that has completely left me speechless today. Compared to the Ghibli that I reviewed a few years ago, this is so much better. It's more refined, and they finally listen to the customers. I think a lot of people look at Maserati and hope that it's a premium luxury brand, and then in the past they've always been let down. where we're finally starting to see the technology aspect make its way into these vehicles, and this 10-inch touchscreen will make its way into the Levante. And to me, I think when you match the technology and the performance, the sound this car makes, I think now you're starting to see the Maserati Ghibli become a interesting car in this segment for sure. Now, of course, it does go up against formidable foes, and I understand that if you are looking for a premium luxury brand, you might look elsewhere. But I do think, though, that you should not overlook this car. I understand a lot of people have been very critical of the Ghibli in the past, but based on what I've heard from people that I respect in this industry, they've said it's definitely improved. And I think even after experiencing this car, and compared to what I experienced back a few years ago, Maserati has definitely started focusing on the smaller details, and it definitely makes me smile as somebody who wants to see Maserati, Alfa Romeo, and non-mainstream luxury brands succeed. This definitely makes me feel a lot better about the brand moving forward, and I'm really interested in seeing what Maserati has in store in general for 2021, because I think there's a lot to be excited about for this brand. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys next time.